Well, how's everyone doing today? Working on a 6300, putting a water pump on it. And I'm doing this video because I've looked up a few times on what you need to do to put a water pump in on one of these tractors. They're not the easiest, but some guys said you need to take all this off, pull the fan shroud out the top, take the radiator and all that stuff off. And unless you got radiator issues, then you would. But a few guys said you cut a hole here and slip your shroud and stuff through. But there's about, 8 bolts, 10 bolts you can take off and get the side rail. There's a bolt up here, and take that clamp off. And you can slide this out far enough to pull your fan shroud out first, pull your fan out, and then you've got to take off your variable speed displacement clutch for the fan. Take that off and you slip this out the bottom and then pull these pieces out and then pull the pump off. It's the best way that I've found on it. This is my first time doing it, that it would work. Of course, putting it back together, trying to get your fan belt on first, and put everything back together like it should be. I've already had to take that side back off because I thought I could maybe throw the pump in with fan and shroud in it, but you can't. There's not enough room to get in between the fins. It gets caught up right here on it, right on this housing. So, not the funnest deal. That goes on first. I gotta remember how I did this. It's been 2 weeks since about 2 weeks since I worked on it. So, but it don't look like it's pretty when you do this, but I've already had it. You don't really tweak anything. It's just getting everything lined back up. Because this stuff, once it comes apart, it's got a little bit of wiggle room in it. So it's just getting it lined up and trying to get everything fit like it should. But I'll come back with an update once I get her buttoned up a little bit more. But yeah, I'll tell you, this ain't the funnest job in the world. I've got that 8.3 on that 8095. It's 2 bolts. It's off. So I'll bring you guys back here in a little bit and show you once I get it back together. Okay, back again on it. There's 4 studs that go in the water pump. You gotta take it out of the old one. And a pair of vice grips. You put it in the vise, clamp it in the vise here, and a pair of vice grips, and it didn't hardly take any pressure to get them out. They go on the inner ring. There's 8 bolts, or 8 holes. You got 4 outer ones, 4 inner ones. They're staggered. They go on the inner ones, and I hope that goes in there. I might have made boo-boo. I hope not. But I'll come back and get this thing in and show you more. Alright. Well, I got my mistake fixed. I had to pull it back out. 3rd time's a charm. So if you ever have to fix one of these things, get your fan. You got to take all these bolts. There's 8 bolts up here. Take them out. Pull all that out. Pull your pump off. And do everything in reverse. And hopefully you just have the parts and you do it all at one time. Doing this thing 2 weeks later, my mind's in other places. Or goes other places. It's just not focused on this one job. I still got to button up some stuff on it, but get the belt back on it. And yeah, it is a pain in the ass, period. But it can be done without cutting a hole in this, without pulling the radiator. Let's see if I can. It's 1240. I'd say unexperienced, somebody doing this for the first time. Hopefully this video helps some people. 3.5 hours and you can have her apart, back together. We kind of had a heck of a time. See, I scarred up some stuff. I think you can, it would probably be best. I think there's 4 pins on this here. And you can just pull this whole hood off, and that would have been a better idea. And then that would have allowed this to be completely free. And you could slide stuff in and out. That's my mistake. I should have did that, looking at it now, because those would have just came right off. So, yeah, 4 or 6 of them. You could just pull that right off. That hood would have came off. I mean, I'm strong enough I could have did that. I should have, but I didn't. But to recap everything, there's 2 bolts here. This, that's a hex screw. This bolt, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On the front there, I think 12. And then this bolt here, that's a small bolt. And that'd pull right off. And take your fan shroud off. Take your fan off. You'll have to loosen all this up before you can slide any of that out. The fan and stuff out, because you got to take the shroud out first and then you take the fan out, and then you can take your pump off, and this pulley has to go on first before you put anything else on. It's just, yeah, I forgot what I did, and we'd got this shroud out, and that fan was far enough forward to get. No, you can't get it off. It still binds up in there. I guess that came off when I took the pump out. So, it was kind of a tedious job. But, you know, I probably got 5 hours in this so far. 2 hours the other day. And, I don't know, I started at 10:30 or so. It's 12:30, 12:45. I mean, like I said, 3.5 hours, if somebody can watch this video, should be able to do it. Like I said, if I did something different, I'd pull these pins off. They're just clips, and you can just slide all that stuff off. Hopefully you got somebody to help you, because that will come down. It's got shocks on the back side of that. But yeah, just a little overview on how to put a water pump on a 6300 John Deere. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope I went over everything to kind of show you what's got to be done. But getting to these, there's 4 nuts on this, 4 nuts here that go on these studs, and then there's 4 bolts that go in this housing that goes into the pump, and then there's 8 bolts on the pump that you got to take out. And then these panels, there's panels here, they've got bolts on, or nuts on them, and there's another 8 nuts I think you got to take off. And this one here, it just comes off the hinges. And this one up here's got a latch on it. But and you got to take this front grill off, and it's nice if you have this, otherwise you can just unhook your wires. But it just lifts, it's got slots in here that you can just lift it out of. Take these hoses off. They kind of help get this thing out, get this big water hose out of the way. We're going to add a little bit longer drain hose on it that comes out here, so it comes out, maybe just goes down. Put a pepcock on it because I could not find a pepcock or anything on this radiator. Oh, this is right at the bottom, but I can't get to it. So yeah, it's, when I do the 60/80, you guys will see it's a whole different beast and a whole lot easier. I am just, and this tractor is like a 93 or 94. This just pisses me off on how stupidly complicated they made it. But anyways, that's just a rant. But hope everybody had a good Christmas, and we'll see you on the next video.